And with that, we welcome you inside Simplified Arena at Stan Sheriff Center. Kanoa Leahy along with Lisa Strand. Lisa, take us through the Kaiser Permanente keys to the match.
And for the San Diego Tritons, they just want to hang on tight tonight. They love the challenge coming to Hawaii and playing them again for the 4th time this short season. But they cannot afford to give up a lot of points. And for Hawaii, they just want to keep evolving. They know what they're capable of, and they want to be better every time they set foot on this court.
And we are underway, and first transition for Hawaii. It is a Colton Cowell smash to get things started. Colton, who last night put down 14 kills, hit 346 to go along with 7 digs, also recorded a block. He's hitting 281 on the season. The Hawaiian Financial FCU starting lineups scrolling at the bottom of your screen. Same starting rotation for Hawaii as we saw in the home opener last night. Little pitter-patter at the net. Layout save. Jakob Tella off the ricochet, and Colton Cowell goes off the high hands. Chance here for the Tritons. They go back row to Ryan Ka, and he was certainly effective most of the time last night, but he goes long there. No touch up front. He had 10 kills. The average started to dip a little bit as the night wore on. He ended up hitting 107. But he certainly was pretty dynamic in stretches as you take a look at UC San Diego head coach Kevin Ring in his 16th season. Tritons took a set off Hawaii. That's something they didn't do in the first 2 matches that were played in San Diego. That was back on February 24th and 25th. Hawaii pulling off 2 sweep victories there. Just the 3rd set that Hawaii has dropped here this season. And so we already have a replay challenge on that last sequence. The call on the floor was out, and obviously Kevin Ring wants to challenge whether or not there was a touch. And from those few replay angles, doesn't seem to be too overt.
It's a very hard angle once again to take a look, but I think they're feeling that it touched Patrick Gassman's left pinky finger. All the San Diego players were yelling touch the minute that ball soared long.
You had Chaz Galloway there guarding that back line as well. He nudged perhaps close to that ball, had a notion of trying to make the save, so it's just a matter of whether or not the R2 there, Dixon Chun, taking a look at this, feels like there's enough evidence to reverse the call.
You're right, it looks like it may have touched Chaz Galloway.
And so they do reverse the call. And so there is the effervescent smile of Ryan Ka. Patrick Gassman smiles to match. I guess Pat admitting, yeah, I think I may have gotten a fingernail on that.
Well, these players all know each other so well, and they have a lot of respect for one another as well across the net.
Well, I mean, this is the 4th time they've played already this young season, as you pointed out, and there is Chaz Galloway. I mean, his jumping ability is something to behold. Last night, a career-high 13 kills. He had 417, also had 4 blocks, just a freshman from San Diego. And assistant coach Josh Walker, who was very much like that, a dynamic leaper, an incredible outside hitter. He says he sees a little bit of himself in Chaz Galloway. He says the only thing is he's already doing that as a freshman. It was later in my collegiate career that I was starting to touch that height.
Well, he's pretty modest. He was a pretty phenomenal player himself, as well as, you know, he was voted American Associate Coach of the Year back in, I believe it was 2019. So he's got some accolades behind him as well.
Yeah, there's a look at Josh Skywalker. He was spectacular, that's for sure. Gassman putting a good hit on it there, rattled around in return. Gassman another crack at it, goes off the block of Logan Clark, and it'll be played back. Setup goes to Ka, a little awkward there. He touches it over. Colton Cowell with the bump set to Rado Parapunov off the block. Good save there by Colin Shannon. Back row set goes to Kyle McCauley. Hawaii now in transition. Back row to Cowell. Through the block and down.
Well, you're seeing a lot of back row attacking here right now. And San Diego, I'll tell you, they're forcing Hawaii to really get into some good transition volleyball.
So 3-2 here early. Colton Cowell already with 2 putdowns. And it is Pat Gassman who will serve. 6 aces on the year. He has started 100 and now 13 of 115 career matches. A 6th-year senior, just like Colton Cowell. And a good serve there. Layout pass by Matt Palma. And the middle set to Logan Clark. A little too hot to handle for Jakob Tella. And so this first set starting off very similarly to what we saw the first couple of sets last night, Lisa. Neck and neck out the gate.
Yeah, and that's exactly what these teams both do very well, is they side out well. And I believe that it will boil down to serving tough from the back line and the blocking.
17 service errors for each team last night. San Diego coupled that with 3 aces. Hawaii had 7 aces. Got a little better in the service department as the match wore on. Free chance here for the Warriors. Tella, backside Dorado. The block hadn't fully formed, but a great up by Shannon. Lobbed over by McCauley, but it goes long and a point for Hawaii.
I'll tell you, the play of the day in my book, I know it's early, is this young man, Matt Palma, chasing that down and diving into the back tunnel to rescue that ball.
Now, the effort was there throughout last night as well. Matt Palma, team leader in digs, averaging 2.2 digs per set, had 9 last night. Served by Parapunov into the twine.
Parapunov with his 100th service ace last night. Getting more records in those books.
He also had a big night offensively. Parapunov with 17 kills, his 14th straight double-figure kill match going back to last season as Ka sends it long. And Hawaii jumps ahead again. So the Rainbow Warriors coming in, they're 8-0 for the 3rd straight season. They're now 3-0 in the Big West. The Tritons dropped to 1-6 by virtue of that 4-set loss last night. They're 1-2 in the Big West. Tella. That one is popped straight up in the air. It'll be played back on the Triton side. Here's McCauley through the block. Tella now. How about the back set to Parapunov? And he lights it.
Rocket Rado terminating another ball. The force behind it alone is enough to knock somebody over when you really look at the power in his attack.
Yeah, it's amazing. And he just seems to be doing it in a way that seems so much more effortless now at this stage of his career. There's just confidence oozing from Rado Parapunov at every moment. Here's Ka, no blockers up, and he annihilates it. But they're going to say he was in front of that 3-meter line, so a back row attacker violation. And they give it to Hawaii, 7 serving 4 here.
So you cannot, if you're in that back court, cross that line. There you see his left foot on the line when he took off, and that's a violation from the back court.
So Galloway keeps serving. Set outside, it's McCauley, cross court, good up there by Gage Worsley. Bump set Parapunov tight to the net. And easy pickings there for Hawaii. The Tritons perhaps a little confused, expecting a joust, didn't quite happen, and Jakob Tella was able to take a free swing at it, and he just hammered it.
Well, that's the benefit of being 6'6" and a lefty. He goes up and he's jump setting a lot, but he's holding the blocker with him. And he is very physical as well, hitting.
And as the setter, he'll pick and choose the times that he gets offensive, but for what it's worth, he's hitting .323 coming into this match on the season. And the one-handed stuff, Jakob Tella doing it on offense. And then they're flashing a little defense, and it's Hawaii up a handful, and UCSD with a 5-0 run being ripped off by the Rainbow Warriors. Signal for a timeout. 9-4. Take a look at tonight's Jack Fact. Limiting the losses, Hawaii is the only Division I men's volleyball program without a loss this season. Long Beach State at 3-1 is the only single-loss team in Division I. We mentioned Damon College, Division II program from Amherst, New York. They're also undefeated, playing an abbreviated schedule here in 2021. Out of the timeout, it's McCauley, and he goes long with it. No touch up front. And Hawaii distancing itself. They have scored 6 in a row.
Chaz Galloway doing a nice job from the back line, keeping his serve in after the timeout, but also taking a little something off of it, serving the Tritons a little short.
Galloway out of San Diego, graduate of Del Norte High School. Blasted off the palm of Colin Shannon. Gage Worsley was in position, but it came in a little too hot even for him. By the way, did you notice the updated banner above here in the rafters?
We did notice that coming in tonight. How about that? It's been updated, and you were on it last night, Kanoa. They earned that.
That's right, Guilherme Voss with the swing for Hawaii. And Colton Cowell with that last touch going over the net, couldn't put it down. Voss will get a stab at it. And they thought it was in, but the line judge says that it was out. And so a point for UCSD. Yeah, credit to Rich Sheriff and the rest of the staff around the UH Athletics program. That 2019 NCAA final was not listed when we showed the banner last night. And of course, leave it to us to point it out and cause a headache for everybody involved. But to their credit, they were able to update it. And so all is right with the world as Colton Cowell is able to get it down for Hawaii.
That was one where Hawaii went to Long Beach State. They hosted the national championship at Long Beach State. It was sold out before it even happened, literally. They lost 3-1 for the national championship.
Yeah, 3 NCAA tournament appearances in the last 6 years for Charlie Wade and his squad. Here is Cowell going off the block and out. And there's just so much more of a rhythm to Hawaii's transition and really overall game here in this opening frame compared to what we saw at the first set last night.
Well, they're like a well-oiled machine. They got that first one off of their back at home here with all the various conditions going on with the one person in attendance. And now they're like they're back.
Macaulay back and puts it down for the Tritons. Macaulay was pretty spectacular last night. 17 kills on 33 swings, hit 364 to go along with 6 digs. He's the team leader, 3.6 kills per set. That delayed middle set to Cowell, and right now Hawaii running all kinds of transition plays.
Jakob Toole just having so many options in his arsenal. I'll tell you what, he's doing a great job distributing the ball and really confusing the blockers on the opposing side.
Already 5 kills for Cowell. Here's Tella. Outside, the swing by Shannon. Access denied. As big a block as Hawaii has to offer. Pat Gassman next to Rado Parapunov. They can eclipse the sun, those two.
They shut down that hit, and the harder you swing at it, sometimes the harder it comes back.
6'10" and 6'9". Good luck. Here's Tella. Hawaii up 14-7. Shannon tries to challenge that block again. It wasn't quite as united that time, and Shannon able to take advantage.
Shannon really comes in hard to the ball and swings very aggressive on it with a lot of power.
Big West Conference all-academic selection the last 2 years. Colin Shannon from Westwood, California. Tella goes middle. Here's Gassman off the high hands. Good chase down there by McCulley. Back set from Crisp. Shannon trying to slice it cross court, misses wide. No touch along the way, and Hawaii gets to 15 first, so we'll have a timeout on the floor. Warriors by 7 in set 1. Welcome back. Let's check out the First Hawaiian Bank top 3. We're looking at NCAA blocks per set, and Pat Gassman tops the list. 1.6 blocks per set. He has 40 total blocks coming into tonight's match, 6 solo stubs. He's tops in the NCAA in that category and also second in the NCAA in hitting percentage. Last night, he hit -143, and he is still hitting .527 on the season.
I'll tell you what, that was a rare thing last night.
As Cowell goes into the twine out of the timeout.
Frustration settles in. He knows better.
We saw that a few times in last night's match. Here's the run-up serve by Shane Bennett. And here's Gassman. Dug up, so Ka sets up McCulley off of one leg. Two-hand save Tella, and on the second touch, it is Cowell on the swing from the back row.
You gotta love that. He took the opportunity to transition that ball on too. Totally unexpected by the defense. He's having fun.
Yeah, this is Colton Cowell off to a lava-hot start here. 6 kills on 8 swings, error-free. And Pat Gassman to serve, 16 serving 9, and he goes long with it. You know, we were talking with some of the players and some of the coaches after the match, and they all commented on the fact that it just felt a little strange last night. Home opener, they had played in some other venues, smaller venues on the continent prior to last night's match. And they said it just felt a little different, even though there weren't fans in those facilities either. You know, it's Simplify Arena at Stan Sheriff Center. They're used to a different kind of vibe, and to a man, it seemed as though it took a while for them to adjust to that, as well as adjust to some of the speed of the offense of UC San Diego. But all that compounded to where it has been described as a bit of an uncharacteristic start to the match, shall we say, for Hawaii last night, as Will Campbell, the freshman, comes in to take over the setting responsibilities.
Definitely a different vibe here in the arena. It's completely different. It's a lot quieter. You don't have the band, you don't have the cameras, you don't have the intermission. Everything to the wave, every little thing, the antes, you name it, it's very different.
Logan Clark putting that one down. And so Ryan Ka, 6'3", redshirt sophomore from San Marcos, California, to serve. Pass by Cowell on the money. Tella sets up Voss, and that service receive is targeted like that. It's clockwork here for these Warriors.
That's about as pretty as it gets. Voss doing a great job just driving hard in the middle. His connection with Jakob Tella is really on. Watching them in warm-up was fun.
Here's Galloway. Back row set goes to Ka. Was that touched along the way? It goes long. They're going to say no touch.
Blake Crisp trying to run that back row attack. The last few attempts out of the backcourt have been hit long. That can be a little frustrating for a setter. Excuse me, Will Campbell. Blake Crisp went out.
That's right. And still, UC San Diego flatlining it at the moment, Lisa. Hawaii hitting 409 in contrast. Here is McCauley. That one pinballed around. Cowell will touch it over. Campbell with the first save. High ball set. McCauley against 3 blockers is able to tool it for a much-needed Triton point.
You might start seeing McCauley do a little bit more of that. Use the block, especially when there's 3 of them up there, hitting high off of the hands purposely.
McCauley, that's just his second kill on 13 swings. He's hitting -077. So a different story here so far for the Tritons compared to the opening frame last night. Nick Rigo, freshman from Laguna Niguel, California, into serve, and into the net it goes. So Hawaii gets to the 20 mark, and they lead by 8.
They've definitely created a nice separation gap.
And we'll have a substitution here as Spiros Hakas comes in, 6'4" freshman from Greece.
He was used a couple of times last night as well as a serving specialist. Comes in, does a... I won't say anything. How's that? I'm not going to say anything before he serves.
Well, it's a good serve there. Pass by Palma. Right side set, and that is Charlie Siragusa able to lay into that one. And the Tritons get another point.
Siragusa, 6'9" out of New York. Blake coming in and playing that front row, allowing a bigger block and a bigger attack.
Siragusa actually started his career at BYU, didn't play in 2019 before deciding to transfer to UCSD. Oh, a little joust at the net. And the line judge is going to say that it touched down on the Terraflex on the San Diego side. So a point for Hawaii. And another nice improv play there by Jakob Tella.
He had 12 digs last night. His defense has greatly improved. He comes up with some spectacular balls, and mostly left-handed, one-arm left-handed balls.
Yeah, it was also a career high in assists. He had 42 assists to go along with those 12 digs, as McCauley is able to plug it through the blocking down.
McCauley transferred from Orange Coast College. We talked about this last night, and what an immediate impact player he is. He was named the newcomer of the year by all the coaches in the men's volleyball arena.
Yeah, to go along with his first team All-American AVCA selection. Tella, a delayed middle. And it is Galloway again, just clobbering it out of the back row. The distance he covers when he vaults from that back line. I mean, take a look at this.
He ends up completely at the center of the court, from the 3-meter line all the way. Pretty athletic, won't you say?
Yeah, it is eye-popping. Here is Cowell. Took a little something off that serve, still forced the overpass, and then Galloway, up off the trampoline, is able to rise up and win the joust above the tape.
Galloway has a sister who's a senior who plays volleyball at Air Force Academy. So from a very athletic family, following in her footsteps, I'm assuming.
Galloway listed at 6'3", so he's similar height to Josh Walker. We were asking what he touches. Says it's up in the 11'7", 11'8" range at the moment. There's Rado, and he goes by the block and down.
That was a spectacular dig by Gage Worsley. Again, one-handed, left-handed. Gage Worsley, for those of you who don't know, is a lefty. He is actually a pretty phenomenal jump server and attacker, but here in Hawaii, he's been used as a libero.
Aloha ball for Hawaii in this first set, but a timeout taken by Kevin Ring. What do you think Kevin Ring's trying to communicate here? I mean, this first set is fairly lopsided. You don't want to ever say that, you know, it's over before it is, but an interesting timeout selection despite the fact that we're at this late stage of the opening frame as we take a look at some of what Colton Cowell has done here in the first set. 6 kills, still error-free, Lisa.
Well, Colton Cowell's having a great night. He's very smooth. He's in the zone, if you will. He's having fun. He's leading his team by example. And back to Coach Ring, I'd have to say that Coach Ring is probably just trying to slow things down, get a little bit of momentum back to his side of the court. Definitely a late timeout.
High school sports is back, and it's an ILH doubleheader of volleyball. Tune in Tuesday at 5 p.m. as Mid-Pacific takes on Iolani in girls volleyball, followed by the boys at 6:30, exclusively on Spectrum OC 16. And Colton Cowell has been pretty prolific here against the Tritons, the 2 non-conference matches that were played up in California. He had 13 kills each of those nights, 14 kills last night, and off to the blistering start here in what is already the 4th time that these teams have met up. And obviously that's by design. You know, it's a little bit unique compared to what you would see in more traditional season schedules, but everybody just trying to do what they can to load up as many matches as possible here in this very different COVID-affected season.
It's a shortened season, and all the teams are playing within their own conference. So that's the thing that we're seeing. Everybody's doing the best. They're just so happy to be back here having the opportunity to play. The other thing I find kind of amazing is that they're playing with no masks on. I've been watching women's teams. They're playing the whole match with masks on. So I guess it just depends on where you're at, what conference.
Yeah, and the county and state protocols for health and public safety. I mean, those obviously play a role. You see some venues that have allowed fans to start coming back. And so it's really a collective, collaborative type of effort wherever you may go, as that one goes off of the foot of Tella. How about the second touch there by Cowell, but they will make the late decision that actually touched the Terraflex. And so give the kill to Shane Bennett. For a moment there, though, we were thinking we were watching one of the great, perhaps unintended saves. He definitely caught a piece of his shoe, but maybe caught a piece of the ground as well.
At the same time.
So still Aloha ball here in set number 1. Served by Bryce Curtis, misses wide. That's a point for Hawaii. And they put the ribbon on the first frame. They win by double figures, 25-15 in set number 1. Saw the commercial for that episode, and yeah, that salmon dish looks pretty tasty.
You're not invited?
No, no, nobody's invited me.
You could invite yourself.
That's usually how it goes. Well, what, you're taking set 1, 25-15. And again, we talked with a couple of the players, Rado Parapunov in particular, saying, yeah, I think we thought a little too much about the fact that this was the first time we were playing in the arena last night in over a year. I mean, they haven't even been back in their designated locker room here in the arena since last year. I mean, if you were to go in there, it'd probably have some of the lays and some of the other trinkets that the fans bestowed on the players after that phenomenal match against BYU. They're probably still laying around in there.
It's pretty amazing that they have them in their own locker room.
Ucsd, starting setter here for Hawaii. Been showing a little bit of it all, right? Not just as the setter and quarterback on the floor, but some of the defensive ability, some of the offensive ability.
He's really gained a lot of confidence, and he's playing all around. Of course, 6 rotations. He's the only setter on the floor. He's the leader. He's the captain of the floor with his sets. But what's great about him is that he's really coming into his own. You can see he's got so many ammunition, but also he's playing great defense. He's blocking. He's attacking the ball. And then from the service line, last night I believe he had 5 straight services in game 4 that really jump-started them to finish the match.
He will be behind the service line here to start set number 2. But certainly in contrast to last night, it seemed like Hawaii a little more prepared for the environs and certainly the speed of the match that UC San Diego tries to play. Hawaii showing its dominance in that first set, but a good win at the net for Shane Bennett as the Tritons strike first here in set number 2.
It's like he got a hold of that ball and powered it through Patrick Gassman, which is rare.
Hawaii hitting .481 in the first frame compared to .133 for the Tritons, and Pat Gassman getting in on the fun right there. And how about the Warriors siding out at 93% in that first frame?
Well, that's pretty huge, and that goes back to the serving from behind the service line. San Diego not putting a ton of pressure on them serving, but also Hawaii passing nails.
Cowell, that one tickles the tape. Chance here for the Tritons. They go to McCauley on the opposite side, and he goes off the block and down.
A little mix-up with Gassman and Galloway over there. Off the block.
Galloway actually fell to the floor, but appears to be okay. Pass by Worsley. Here's Galloway on the outside. He elevated, but he went wide. And so that's part of the development. As you take a look at what happened on that last play, it was Galloway and Gassman sort of falling into each other, and that's always extremely scary. But as you saw on that last attempt, it looked like Galloway was okay. He still got way up into the stratosphere as Rado Panapunov puts it down to get Hawaii's second point. But getting back to Galloway, that's part of the development. You know, we were talking with Josh Walker, who played the same position, very similar skill set. And he said, you know, when you have that kind of jumping ability, it's kind of like a pitcher who can throw 95 miles an hour. The next thing is you got to learn how to pitch, right? You got to learn the change-ups. You got to learn how to mix it up, learn different angles. And that's the next step here in the development for Chaz Galloway as a hitter, as that one is just clobbered by McCauley.
And Galloway, you know, he has the benefit of being around this veteran squad. So he's playing up the level that he's come up to with this year off of COVID, where everybody's kind of limited. He got to train with the best for, you know, a year.
Panapunov pounds it off the block and out. Rado just going about his business. That is his 4th kill on 7 swings, no errors. Now just coolly strolls back behind the service line. Has been around this program for a while. He still kind of has that baby face, though, doesn't he?
He really does. He came in and he had that very, very young look, but he's still got it, but he's so much more mature.
Free chance here for the Bows. Backside is Rado on that D set, diving one-hand save. Palma rattled around and returned. So another free opportunity here for Hawaii. D set again, no blockers up, and Panapunov makes him pay.
You think he's having fun? Look at that face, that baby face. He's annihilating the ball, hitting it. I don't know what the miles per hour is, but he's got a heavy, heavy hit.
4.37 kills per set this year, just under 400 coming into tonight's match. And just all over the national rankings when it comes to offensive statistics. And a little defense mixed in here on that front line. It was Tella again, getting his fingerprints all over this match, quite literally, next to Guilherme Voss, as they stuffed that swing by Ka.
And Voss last night really came in, and at the end of game 4 had some critical blocks for the team.
So Hawaii in front for the first time here in set 2. Parapunov that time tried to add a little extra sauce to it. About 66 miles an hour on the gun, but it goes long.
He was saying how it was really challenging when COVID just started, how it was hard to stay motivated, you know, and that his teammates and his roommates really helped him to stay focused on coming back and playing this year, but also because he hasn't even been home this whole time.
That was a beautiful serve there by Siragusa. Check out the action here, Lisa.
Siragusa top spin. Let's see if he can do it again.
He tries to, he goes right at Worsley, handles it well, and from the back row, Cowell unloads.
Worsley making the adjustment with a perfect pass, stepping a little bit more to his right. Earlier on that first serve, he showed him a lot of space.
Colton Cowell reached double figures in kills last night for the 5th time this year. From Makawao on Maui, a graduate of King Kekaulike High School. Here's Ka blasting it off the high hands. Saved there by Worsley. Middle set Voss. Didn't get all of it. But handcuffed Palma for a little bit. Ka, tough over-the-shoulder angle. The save there by Galloway along the back line. D-set goes to Rado. Oh, and he serves up the facial on Matt Palma.
Gotta remember that Rado's coming out of the backcourt on that attack. It's pretty amazing, and he's got so much force over and through the hands of Ka. Almost takes out Palma.
So Hawaii vaults back in front. Galloway the serve. Overpass. Tella says mahalo nui loa.
And that's a setter's dream, really, when they can take that ball and actually attack it, because they're constantly giving the ball to everybody else. When they finally get the opportunity, they're loving on it.
So Jakob Tella now with 3 kills. That's more than every player for San Diego not named Kyle McCauley. The save by Rado may have been an out ball. Here's Cowell though on the swing, and he gets it down along that back line past the diving efforts of McCauley.
And Cal took that ball from behind his shoulder. It was coming from behind him. Very hard to see the opponents on that. That just goes to show his experience and how he sees the court so well.
4 straight points here for the Warriors. And Galloway going to try to keep the pressure on. Back row, that is McCauley. The save by Worsley, and again hitting on 2. Tella gets it down again. He is calling his own number with high frequency here, and he has the Tritons a little bit dazzled at the moment, and perhaps even frazzled as they call the timeout. Hawaii by 4. Purchase your favorite UH gear online from the UH Bookstore. Go to bookstore.hawaii.edu to start shopping now. Well, no errors yet for Rado Parapunov. 6 kills on 9 swings. He's hitting .667.
And he's hitting from all over the court, primarily out of the back court, doing an excellent job. Tella just feeding him.
And Galloway out of the timeout, serves it into the net. Galloway was able to serve a 5-point run for Hawaii in set 1. That was a 4-point run from the service line. Ended a 5-0 run overall for Hawaii right there with the error. But sometimes it pays just to get the serves in, especially when you have a block up front like what this Hawaii displays, and certainly with their transition game when it is in full effect.
Definitely, and we talk about it constantly out of a timeout, just keeping that ball in, the pressure on the team that called the timeout.
Ross with the touch serve. Outside, McCauley, 1 blocker up, and he goes over the top.
It's amazing how in men's volleyball the libero does not serve. In women's volleyball the libero does. Men's it doesn't, and so Gage Worsley, again I was talking about him earlier, he's got a wicked jump serve. He's a lefty, but he has never served in his college career that I'm aware of.
Tella goes quick middle to Gassman. He's able to wipe it down. That is the second kill for Pat Gassman.
Tella's got a set selection going on here. He can set whoever he wants from anywhere on the court, the back row, the front row. He could maybe even set the guys over on the sideline if they ever get an opportunity to get on the court.
Hawaii's hitting 550 for the match, 692 here in set 2. And McCauley is stuffed. Rado and Gassman saying, "Aole."
That is a wall, literally a barricade up there. Very hard to get around it.
Hawaii in last night's match ended up totaling 12.5 team blocks compared to 5.5 for UC San Diego. And the block getting a good touch there as well. Tella falls to the floor. The back bump set Parapunov rattled around on the Hawaii side after the joust. Chance here for the Tritons. The dump over by Blake Crisp was able to catch him napping. And a savvy play there by the junior from Westlake Village, California.
Hawaii scrambling a little bit on defense. Tella slipped and fell on that last play, possibly having a slippery floor. Crisp taking advantage.
Oh, that back row set. That time Galloway with the swing, but they were waiting for him. Led by Shane Bennett in the middle. And they turn it back, and UCSD trying to make a little push here in the middle portion of this second frame. Served there by Shannon, or by Crisp, I should say. And Gassman able to get it down again. Tella with the assist.
Yeah, just feeding him a little bit more distance between, but their connection much better tonight. I think the set is a little higher for Pat. Last night, their connection was a little on disconnect mode.
Gassman in last night's match, just 1 kill on 7 swings. We mentioned hit negative numbers.
And we saw Max Rosenfeld come in and do a nice job for the team. That's the thing about this team. 20 members on the roster. Their depth is so great. Half those guys over there could probably be starting at any other college for men's volleyball.
Howell to serve, 14 serving 10. Pass by Palma. Outside set, Siragusa blocked and roofed. And again, it is Rado and Gassman, that dynamic duo. They have made it pretty impenetrable over there on that outside pin. Timeout. Get the greatest plays, hardest hits, and schedule info by following Spec Sports High on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. It's Hawaii by a handful here in set number 2 on night number 2 in this home opening weekend. Against UC San Diego. Hawaii will be home again next weekend. Long Beach State coming into town. Coming off of 2 victories against UC Irvine, by the way, including a reverse sweep today. As that one is put down by Shane Bennett. Long Beach State off to a 3-1 start to the season.
Long Beach State has a very young team, not the Long Beach State that we're used to seeing in the past. Very dominating team. Not that they're not dominating, just that they're in a rebuilding period.
That was an interesting angle there. Parapunov from off the net was still able to go wrist away. And that arm swing, obviously the lefty swing will always draw comparisons, but just how unpredictable the angle can be at this stage of his career. It reminds you of one of the best that ever played here, UV.
UV, that's right. You know, it's interesting because Rado came in and they were kind of earmarking him for Stein von Tilburg's spot, right? And so he's a right-handed player. So he was kind of bounced around from the left to the right for a little while there.
Van Ekren coming in to serve, but serves it wide. So Gassman will come in and then give way to the libero, Gage Worsley. Yeah, Yuval Kotz, one of the very best And Parapunov putting himself right there, I think, when it is all said and done. That is a service ace. We also might have a rotation issue here for Hawaii. Raymond Mink, the R1. Atop the ladder, Dixon Chun. Down on the floor, the line judges Randy Rubinall and Mark Nakashima.
Jacob, we're just going to make sure they're right, so they know where they are. You get the point either way.
There's definitely a question about the rotation and if they're in the correct positions right now.
I know it's a delay, but
that serve, watch Hawaii line up on serve receive right now. They're very short in the court, and that last serve went up and over their heads, and so they assumed that it was going long.
Cowell and Worsley almost take up the entirety of that back line in serve receive as Galloway is able to go off the block and out for the point. And it's funny, Charlie said they've been tinkering with some different formations, even maybe sliding Rado over to take some of the court. He says, I think, though, that Gage and Colton probably get offended when we do that. It's as if we're insulting their serve receive skills.
You know, I think they really do, especially Gage, because that's his primary role, right? He wants to own that back court.
Well, there is Rado on the scoop, but the kill given to Logan Clark. Clark, who went flatline last night, 5 kills with 5 errors. But he gets it down there for UCSD. They're hanging tough here in set number 2, trailing by 3.
You don't have as much energy from you, San Diego, tonight that we felt from them last night. Ryan Ka, who was kind of a go-to player last night, is a little bit silent. He's hitting in the negative right now. He was very explosive and highly energetic last night.
Siragusa with the serve. Tella goes back row to Cowell. How about the save there by Palma? That was pretty. Knuckled over by Ka. Chance for Hawaii. Tella on 2 again.
So Tella has really been a force at the net tonight, offensively and defensively. He's blocking and he's turning and hitting on 2 often.
Tella now with 5 kills on 6 swings. Galloway with the serve. Hawaii up 4. Right side, it's Ka. That comes in hot on Parapunov. Well, we mentioned Long Beach State coming to town next week. This is going to move pretty fast through April, because after that, Hawaii on the road at CSUN for a pair of matches. The following week back home for their regular season finale against UC Irvine, the final 2 matches here at Simplify Arena at Stan Sheriff Center as Parapunov goes down the line and in. And then after that, it's the Big West Conference Tournament, which will be played here in Honolulu, April 22nd through the 24th. And we will have that for you here on Spectrum Sports. So very exciting that we'll be able to bring you the action from that tournament. But when you look at April, I mean, this thing is going to fly by here.
It really is. It's short and it's sweet. And what's amazing in bringing all these teams into Hawaii with the state of Hawaii quarantine and COVID and the exams and everything, it's a lot of work. Coach Kevin Ring was telling us the testing and getting the kids registered and everybody having it on their phone. He said he was the last one to get his QR code, and he was a little nervous that he might not make the trip.
There's a look at Kevin Ring. Yeah, and anybody that's done even inter-island travel, you actually went to the West Coast for a little while, and anyone that's done any bit of traveling, you always give the advice, always print out the negative test as well.
Print it out and bring it with you, because they're not playing around.
Make sure you have the hard copy just in case.
And charge the phone.
Hey, there's Tella on 2. That's going to be something. That's going to become like a bumper sticker or a t-shirt. Tella on 2.
He's going to be the one who brings it out. Maybe it'd be Worsley, because Gage likes doing stuff like that.
That's now the 6th put down for Jakob Tella. New setter in, it's Campbell. Gassman got a piece. So cross-court set goes to Cowell, and he blasts it off the block and out. And there is just such a fluidity right now to this Hawaii transition attack. And as you mentioned, Jakob Tella spraying it all over the place. And it seems as though every number he has called has delivered to this point. Hawaii hitting .529 for the match. Let's send it over to Ryan.
Oh, no. Well, during that last timeout, Hawaii very happy with what they're seeing on their sidelines. They're still working on some of the connection issues with some of the middle attackers. They're encouraging the middles to continue to go hard, especially in transition. Some of the connections that we've seen thus far with the middle attack have not been the greatest, but they want to continue to work that. And no doubt, the offensive attacking of Jakob Tella also something that Hawaii is continuing to work on. Back over to you guys.
Thanks a lot, Ryan. Yeah, they have talked to Tella about running it to the middle a little bit more. Charlie Wade even characterized it as we were begging him to set the middle in that first series against UC San Diego in California. Tonight, though, he has seemingly been very organic in the decision-making process, and including the decisions to call his own number offensively at times. But Jakob Tella's put together a very well-rounded match.
He sure has. He was named the Norwegian Talent of the Year in the top division of prep ranks back in 2018 out of Norway. Proud to say I am Norwegian, so, you know, I gotta give him a little bit extra there. But he is. He's really coming into his own, and you gotta remember that these guys get another year, so truly he is a sophomore. He's got a couple more years to continue on and develop into whatever he wants to be.
Yeah, so sort of a reset in terms of classification for all of these players, and that will lead to some interesting decisions at the end of the season. I think guys like Gage Worsley you would look at, right? He's still a junior in standing, but he is scheduled to graduate. He is going to get offers certainly to play professionally somewhere around the world. His brother Joe currently playing in Germany, and so you wonder, is this likely to be it for a guy like Gage Worsley, even though he would have the opportunity to come back if he desired?
In speaking with him, it is that he's ready to be done. He wants to move on. He's going to graduate on time. He's had a great time here, but he's really ready to go forward.
Can't blame him for thinking that way, but obviously some unfinished business here at the collegiate level. Hawaii in transition again. It's Cowell off the block, kept alive by Palma. They go back row. That's Ka, and he's able to tool it for a Triton point for Ka, his 4th kill of the match.
Kyle coming out of the backcourt right then, coming in, getting an opportunity when Wyatt Harrison went down with an ankle injury, and when Hawaii was up on the mainland playing at San Diego.
And Wyatt Harrison from Kilauea, Kauai. Here's Cowell from the right side. Good up there by Palma. Cross-court set, McCauley loops it over. The save there by Worsley. Back row, Galloway off of the launch pad.
That's a system that is running incredibly smoothly. All cylinders ticking. Every player touched the ball in that last rally. Gage Worsley coming across that backcourt. Galloway hitting the bick.
I mean, what do you do defensively? What do you zone in on? It can literally go anywhere.
It's coming real fast. You better stay low and be ready.
Served there by Cowell. Pass by McCauley. Middle set goes to Bennett's blocked back. McCauley from the opposite side goes by the double block. The save there by Rado. Outside, Galloway up the ladder and down the chute it goes.
And interestingly enough, that set was a little bit what I would term a tempo set. Here's the dig, but it's a little quicker to Galloway on that in order to attempt to beat the block. He didn't need to beat the block. He just hits around the block.
Gone are the lime green, what was referred to as the Sour Patch shoes that he sported last year as a true frosh. He actually said he outgrew those. He said, my feet got bigger from last season, so that's why I'm forced to wear a different pair. But he's on the search for maybe something that's a little bit more in line with the fashion statement he was making a year ago. As you see, another pounding shot by McCauley.
He was definitely sporting the look. But the team looks like they're a little bit more in uniform here. As Coach Dave Soji once said, it's not about the shoes.
There you go.
It's about the athlete.
Oh, Parapuna blocked. Bennett's getting his hands all over that one. And so San Diego trying to make a last run here, a last-ditch effort, if you will, in set number 2. Well, Galloway keeps playing like this. You let him pick the color of shoes he wants to wear. That's the way I look at it.
I can't agree more. He can wear, well, I think he has to wear the actual uniform, but shoes, yeah. I guess that's the coach's decision. I don't know whose decision is that. His?
I'm sure he needs the coaches to sign off on it, but I'm sure they can give him some leeway. They did it last year.
Yeah.
Aloha ball here in the second. Here's Gassman. And that's an ace. Pat Gassman finishes the deal in set number 2. Hawaii takes it 25-19, and here in the Hanaho rematch against the 12th ranked Tritons of UCSD, the top-ranked Rainbow Warriors will have a chance to crack open the broom closet. Welcome back. Let's take a look at the McDonald's match statistics. And Lisa, all Hawaii so far in this one.
Definitely, and I think really what jumps out is the kill percentage. Hawaii's just running very efficiently, very smooth, lots of options. Also the blocks. Hawaii's block has been good tonight. It's slowing a lot of balls down, but scoring points off of the blocking. Their numbers are higher than San Diego's with the discrete discretion in saying that's why they're up 2 sets to 0.
Mentioned the blocking for Hawaii. It hasn't exactly been a block party, but certainly when those 2 twin towers combine on that outside pin, it becomes something very tough to deal with for any hitter. Hawaii has come up with the big stuff at times when they've needed it the most tonight. Kyle McCauley, he's one of the few Tritons that has had some steady success. 7 kills, although on 24 swings, and he does have 4 hitting average.
It's almost like they need one more of him on the court. They just don't have enough offensive players right now to kind of support him, and it's getting a little too predictable. They know they're going to go to Kyle McCauley.
San Diego, which last season, before the shutdown, they were playing such good volleyball. They had won 14 matches, the most wins since they became a Division II program, not a Division I, as their entire athletics program is transitioning at the moment to D1. But really in the last 2 decades, they turned D2 in 2001. It's the most wins they had in a season since then. They defeated 7 ranked opponents. That included sweeps over 3rd ranked UCLA, nationally ranked Penn State. They didn't want the season to end, and alas, they would lose their All-American center Connor Walbrecht. They would lose their starting libero Ryan Liu, and so it's not necessarily a rebuild, but some key pieces that they've had to replace here from last season to this year.
Absolutely, and you know, that's their seniors left. They opted not to come back, but you can see new center in a sense of running a new offense, and then they're without Wyatt Harrison, who went down with an injury. He was one of their go-to players, and a new libero as well. So that does change things up quite a bit.
One serving 1 here in set number 3. Hawaii up 2 sets to none. Gassman hits it into the twine. Charlie Wade sticking with the starting rotation here for set 3. Do you like that decision? That might be an example as to maybe why he would want to do such a thing, right?
Yeah, he said earlier when we talked to him that it's going to be really hard to work guys in, and he's been trying to work guys in, but pretty much in the backcourt as serving specialists.
Outside, that's Ka with a big swing. Diving save along the back line there by Galloway. Rado touches it over, rattled around in return. Free chance here for the Warriors. Tella, middle, Gassman off the block and out. And yeah, I think that's one of the things that Charlie Wade wants to see as you take another look at that dynamic save by Galloway. But he wants to see Gassman and Tella get locked in a little bit more. And I think that's part of the reason why he wants to roll with the starters, try to, as we mentioned, we're going to be blistering through that April schedule here very shortly. He wants this team to be calibrated for the postseason.
And he also knows that this squad, this experience on the court, he wants to see these guys through their goals and what they've aspired towards. He's got a lot of younger players on the sideline that are benefiting immensely from this squad that's on the court.
Saved there by Worsley. Bump set, Cowell, cross court to Rado is blocked. played off the top of the tape by Tella. Gassman with the swing, and that goes off the shoulder of Crisp. Centered, McCauley loops it over. Right there is Worsley. So Hawaii on the attack. Here's Cowell. Dug up over the net by Palma. Tella, backside, Rado hammers it down.
San Diego is scrappy. Let me tell you, they are hanging in there, and they are really working hard, coming up with a lot of balls, slowing a lot of balls down. Hawaii, again, very physical offensively.
Here is Cowell. What a match he's having. 9 kills, 18 swings, no errors. Serve there. First touch by Ka, right side. And that is Shannon. Misses the court wide. Point Hawaii. And they're up 2. Shannon, interesting. Even on his jump serve, it's the same as his hitting approach. He sort of has that scissor kick action when he vaults off the floor.
Yeah, he does. And he does. He goes hard after that ball every single time. Talked about his mom last night being a tennis player at Stanford and then on the U.S. Olympic water polo team. Extremely athletic family.
Speaking of athletic, how about Galloway rising high once again and going off the block and out. So Hawaii creating a bit of breathing room here very early on. 4-0 run.
Maybe take another look at him just flying high. The set location, excellent, giving him a little bit of distance, just enough where he can see the court and also hit high off the hands.
5 serving 2. The overpass. Galloway! I mean, he was chest high to the tape and just bounced it.
That all made possible by Colton Cowell's serve, which I looked really quickly at the tiny little radar gun over there, and I could see that it was 70 miles an hour.
Look at the height on that jump by Galloway.
11-9? Is that what it was?
It's awfully close, if not right on the money. Scramble just to return that one for the Tritons. Here's Cowell from the back row, off the block and out. And the run continues here for Hawaii.
Cowell had 3 blockers up on him coming out of the backcourt as hard as he could. But check out the pancake dig by Ka, just getting right underneath it. Again, scrambling. San Diego really scrambling.
You saw the radar gun monitor. 69 on there. That serve into the net actually ends a 6-0 run for the Warriors. Charlie Wade has been singing the praises of Colton Cowell and his serving in practice. He says, you know, the general public, and we're seeing some of it obviously this weekend, he's like, the general public doesn't see what we see in that practice gym from Colton Cowell and what he has been doing from behind the service line, ramping it up in the 70s on the serves with consistency.
Yeah, and you can see it out here. You can't really see it, but you can see it and you can hear it, the power behind it.
Yeah, you can hear it. That's a good point. Here's Ka as he gets that one down.
One of the things they talk about with men's volleyball players is, as we take a highlight look of Ka swinging high off the hand of Rado, is that they peak at about 26 through 32 years old. So as they engage longer in the game, they actually get better.
How about the pass there by Galloway? Rado from the opposite side is able to blast it home. He's got 10 kills. He and Cowell, the only players in double figures at the moment.
I think sometimes we don't give enough credit to that first contact, that pass, like you said, with Galloway taking care of that, because without that first contact, you can't have the setter distribute the ball like he is right now.
Crisp sets up Shannon, blocked back by Voss. They go left side, and we've got a whistle. Looks like a net violation is going to go against Hawaii. Blake Crisp, who assumed the setting responsibilities after primarily backing up Connor Walbrecht the last couple of years. He was one of 17 players and 3 setters invited to the U.S. Junior National Training Team. That was back in August of 2018. So got some really valuable experience there. As Parapunov wrist away once more. Has 11 kills.
Hawaii hitting at 400 right now. 400 clip with only mismatch 1 hitting error, but total 6 hitting errors.
Parapunov into double figures in kills for the 15th straight match going back to last season. And finding the floor that time, Logan Clark. Clark now with 4 kills on 4 swings. And no errors.
Muy bueno.
Yeah.
He's fluent in Spanish. It's my little tidbit for you on Logan Clark.
4 kills on 4 swings. I mean, I don't care what language you're speaking. It translates. And the block is up there. Bennett's anticipating that one. And San Diego within 3.
Logan Clark, the 6'7" junior middle blocker. Doing a nice job from the service line as well.
Bennett was waiting for Cowell that time. That's the first hitting error of the match for Colton Cowell. Here's Parapunov from behind the line. Gets it down. Just makes it look so easy.
It starts to look like clockwork. You know, you start taking it for granted that he's going to terminate that next ball.
Talking back to the bench, looked like having a conversation with Milan Zarkovic. Outside, and that one hit the pin.
A little mistiming there by Kyle McCauley. He came in a little too early, ran under the ball, which was set past his hitting shoulder.
So here's Guilherme Voss, freshman from Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. Outside, McCauley. That one off the shoulder of Parapunov, and it went up towards James Anastasiadis, who's now part of our crew. There he is.
Into the crowd.
I don't know about the hands, though, James. I mean, the ball came right at you.
Yeah, I've kind of lost my touch now, I guess. Got to get back in that practice gym with them.
You're just sitting a little too casually, you know?
Yeah, a little bit. Well, different perspective this year.
That's right. Well, it's good to have you part of
Thank
the
you for
Spectrum
having me
Sports
part of
team.
this team.
Yeah.
Jakob Tella just turned and hit on 2 for his 7th kill on the evening. 0 errors.
Right side, and McCauley goes off of the block attempt of Cowell and down.
McCauley still hitting positive. That's his 9th kill in the evening. But when you look at these stats, seriously, you would think that Jakob Tella was a hitter, not the setter, with his numbers.
Oh boy, he had to scramble to return that serve. Still leading by 4, and that one was sent long by Bennett. So James Anastasiadis, part of our crew here this season. Pretty cool to have him. He was a guy who was part of that senior class along with Gassman and Cowell and Parapunov. Had a chance to return and play for the team. Decided instead to become a staff member as a student assistant. And he says, hey, you know, all these opportunities have now sort of presented themselves, including joining our crew, our motley crew here on television.
And he's doing a great job. If anybody knows this team, it's him.
That's right, as Galloway goes off the block, and they were able to get him that time. That is Galloway's 3rd hitting error of the match, but he's still hitting over 400.
And that's an interesting statement when you say hitting error, because he hit that nice and high, and it was actually retreatable. But they just didn't cover him on that ball.
And Gassman plugs it through the block as it trickles down to the floor, and Hawaii gets to 15 first here in set number 3. Justin Kavika-Young is the special guest on the season premiere of It's a Hawaii Thing. Brooke and Lanai talk with this gifted singer and songwriter Monday night at 6:30 exclusively on Spectrum OC16. Well, we needed some credibility here for our Spectrum Sports broadcast, and this guy is bringing it. James Anastasiadis. We have a highlight reel for him. I know you have a highlight reel as well, Lisa.
Good black and white.
James his is a little more recent for the rest of our crew members, that's for sure. But yeah, a little bit of what he brought to the table. Was always the guy sort of out in front too, as you see him taking in the action.
Always great energy.
As you have Brett Schubert out there on the floor for Hawaii. You know, it's interesting as well. I don't think we can necessarily see the seat, but James is sitting on our broadcast side, but he has a seat designated for him. It says JA. Looks like somebody might be sitting in your chair right now, buddy.
That's really true right now. I'm actually working 2 jobs at once right now.
You're double dipping.
So once I was done here earlier on, I had to run up, turn the camera on, make sure that we had the video. Yeah.
Hey, you got to be somebody. When you have your initials on one of those seats along the bench, that means that you have status, as they say.
I guess so. I guess so.
You've earned it.
Yeah.
I appreciate it. I try to do as much as I can for this program. I love it.
Well, you can catch James in. Yeah, I think that's his seat right there.
That is my seat.
Yeah, the doc is sitting in it. You can catch James and obviously Ryan Kalei-Suji and Scott Robbs in the post-game here coming up at the conclusion of this match. As the defensive front once again strong there for the Bows. It was Tella next to Volts. Tella just has been in on about everything here tonight.
He really has. He's doing his job, as they would say. This team, you know, they don't look at the rankings. That's what we talked about that. And they share that it's not about the rankings right now. It's how we evolve and what we get to in this short, minimal season.
Off into the net. What is still up a handful. 12 serving 17 here in set 3. Ryan Ka to serve. Blasts it long. It's the 8th service error for UC San Diego. Hawaii has 9 on its side. And here is Chaz Galloway, who has been steady when behind the service line here tonight.
He has, and you got to give San Diego credit for going for it. They know in order to score points, they have to serve Hawaii tough.
Holly off the block and down. Tella, you could kind of see that one didn't quite get the hand positioning to turn it back. Another kill there for Macaulay. He's into double figures.
Leading his team with 10 kills. 31 attempts so far.
There's Cowell. Pinballed around. It will be returned. Free chance here for the Warriors. Tella outside. Colton got the touch. And that's kill number 11 for Cowell.
Cowell seeing the lower set, a tempo set, if you will, and 2 big blockers up on him. Just swung high for hands. 11 kills for Colton Cowell.
And now a serving sub here is Spiros Hakas. Sets up behind the line.
And you can see the bench with the clap cheering him on.
Oh, and a good swing there. Siragusa able to put some mustard on that.
From a redshirt freshman out of Manhattan Beach, Will Campbell. Redshirt last year, he's come in and participated as a secondary setter, if you will, but he's in the front court right now, so he will be setting offense in what they call a 5-1.
By Cowell. Tella with some options goes back to Cowell. He had to hang in the air for an extra moment, but he pumps it long, and it's a point for the Tritons again, trying to make one last push here down the stretch of this 3rd set. Hawaii leads the all-time series with the Tritons. It's pretty lopsided, 59-4, which includes now a 16-match win streak dating back to 2013. As Siragusa gets denied by the tape there.
So those are pretty dominating numbers.
But again, San Diego going through the division transition. I think the anticipation of perhaps having the ability to recruit in a different way as they transition to full-fledged Division I status across their athletic department. That's something that Kevin Ring, I know, is excited about. And, you know, we saw flashes of it last year. I think this is a program that is on the precipice of taking some steps to become a more formidable contender and member of this Big West Conference.
Definitely. And Kevin Ring and staff have done a phenomenal job, truly. I mean, he's a graduate of the school. He's very smart. He's built this program, and he sees them being a contender always.
Right now, they're just running into a juggernaut, the top-ranked team in the land, as Gassman and Colton Cowell combining for the block. We have a bee that is crawling around on the Terraflex. Watch out if somebody dives over there. Siragusa with the swing, dug up. And in the middle set to Gassman, and he's able to rattle it home. Okay, so the B is on the Hawaii side. And look at these humanitarians as you have Max Rosenfeld, who comes over, and you know, they're not just going to step on the bee. They're not going to. He's actually trying to take care of.
Going to take them out and release them.
Hey, bees are important to the ecosystem.
Very important.
That recognition on the part of the Warriors.
Back to this match. The one thing that this match is doing for San Diego, it's making them a better team. When you really look at the bigger picture, they're getting really long, good rallies. They're playing their hearts out against the #1 team in the nation and in the conference. And they're in Hawaii. Better.
Well, it has been different. We were anticipating this, right? And we've had some other sports that have been able to play here on this campus. Basketball teams utilizing this arena, but this was the opening weekend here at home for this program. And obviously, such stark contrast, the environment, the atmosphere, compared to the last time we saw them in this building. But it doesn't necessarily have to mean, as we are seeing throughout the course of these two nights, it doesn't have to mean that despite the environment perhaps taking a step back, it doesn't mean that this team and its performance has to do the same. This is still a championship-worthy Hawaii team, at least as far as their aspirations are concerned. And they are putting that on display here. They'll have another opportunity to do so next week here against Long Beach State, and things will just intensify as we move along here this season. But yeah, this is a Hawaii team that once again looks like they are for real, and once again takes the Terraflex each and every night with the expectation to be the best in the land.
That's it, exactly. And you know what? They all have shared that they feel like they have unfinished business. And so they really have bonded well and made their goals very open and very public, and worked very hard for what they want to achieve.
Cowell taking something off that time. Middle set goes to Bennett. Right there is Rado. Outside set, Galloway. Dug up along the back line by McCauley. Set outside to Ka, dug up and returned. Worsley was able to save it there. Here's Ka, second time. And that time Worsley was not able to conjure up the save. Point for UC San Diego.
San Diego doing a nice job setting that ball, keeping it a little bit off the net. Ka just moving the ball around nicely.
Here is Bryce Curtis, inserted to serve. Down the line it goes. Galloway really sticks that reception. And then Gassman is able to pound it home. Gassman now with 7 kills. So you have Gassman and Tella, interestingly enough, with 7 kills. You have Chaz Galloway with 8, Colton Cowell with 11, Rado Patapunov with 12. And every one of those names I mentioned is hitting at least 350 or better.
And in this match, they're hitting 447, so some serious numbers being put up. But again, we go back to that first contact pass. Without that, they're not hitting these numbers.
Row set as McCauley, dug up by Gaspin. Galloway able to retrieve it. A legal maneuver there because it was outside the antenna. But San Diego does not allow that rally to last much longer.
And Will Campbell doing a nice job spreading out the offense, coming in late into this match. But the 6'4" redshirt freshman, not afraid to go to his middle. Logan Clark.
So 18 serving 23. And it is Campbell slapping it across. Tella outside, Galloway bouncing it off of the floor. And it is aloha ball here for the match. Kill number 9 for Chaz. And Rado Potapunov serving to try to close the deal. Tritons go right side. It's Ka. And he slices it hard angle. And it's not over yet. It remains aloha ball.
Kyle struggling a little bit from the service line this evening, serving long the last few balls. Let's see if he can keep this one in play.
Yeah, no room for error now for the Tritons. And that's wide. Oh, they're going to overrule the line judge signal. Line judge said it was out. Top official Raymond Mink overrules it, says it was in. And so an ace for Ryan Ka. It is 20 serving 24. It is still aloha ball.
Rado into the serving line formation here. 4-man receive. Just steps in.
Overpass. McCauley. Tella got a good chunk on that block. Tella swinging on 2. The save there by Siragusa. Left side. It is McCauley. Gets it down. San Diego trying to say something here before it's said and done.
Again, you just got to love the fight in them. They are out here just every point battling.
It's a little 3-0 run for the Tritons. Can Ka do it again? Into the net it goes. And that's how this one comes to a close. Hawaii takes it. Ekahi'elua aloha. And improve to 9-0 on the season. 4-0 in the Big West Conference. The Tritons falling to 1-7, 1-3 in the league. And Long Beach State scheduled to step into the house next week. Hawaii hits 448 for the match. They finish with 7 total blocks. And just an efficient night overall for these Warriors, siding out at an 80.7% clip.
Those are nice numbers when you really look at it. And I think a different team tonight than last night. Absolutely. They looked so much smoother and more relaxed, confident. And it showed.
Yeah, I think a very accurate observation there on your part, Lisa. This was a team that just appeared to be much more ready for action and ready to play. And it came to fruition in this sweep of UCSD. Let's send it over to Scott.
All right, thanks a lot, Kanoa. Coach, congratulations. Thought you guys were very efficient tonight. What was the difference from last night to tonight for your team?
Just a little more dialed in. You know what I mean? I mean, it was a little different when you start playing live against them, so I think we're a little better defensively from the get-go. And while not a great night from the service line, certainly better, no question.
We saw you run a lot of plays out of the back row of the BIC. Was that something you saw that was available after watching tape from last night?
Yeah, and if you notice at the end of last night, we started doing it more too. They were pretty much in a commit. They were fronting and committing on Patrick the entire time. They actually were pretty much doing it with G too, but then they switched just into a read. So, you know, when the middle's taking that much attention and taking the blocker with them, then you can run anything you want. You can go over the BIC or back set, and that's just kind of how the matchup went.
All right, now we get ready for next week. You got Long Beach State coming in. What do you know about the Beach?
They're good. Last time we played them was for a national championship, and we get a chance to play them on our floor, and looking forward to the challenge.
All right, congratulations. Thanks a lot.
Aloha.
All right, back over to you, Kanoa.
Thanks a lot, Scott. Charlie and the fellas will try to keep it going next week. We're going to keep it going on the other side of this break. to intro you to the postgame. Hawaii wins it by way of a sweep. Bank of Hawaii presents the players of the match. Let's take a look. Kyle McCauley gets the call for UCSD. 11 kills, hit 147 with 5 digs. Jakob Tella, I mean, just a great all-around effort here this evening. 7 kills, hit 778 to go along with 38 assists and 5 digs. He was in on blocks. He was getting touches, layout saves. I mean, he was spectacular here this evening, Lisa.
He definitely was. The Norwegian was all over the court in every aspect. But you know what? He had a great supporting cast as well. Great team effort by the Warriors.
Shout out to the Norwegian tribe, right?
That's right.
All right, well, Lisa, it's been fun. We'll do it again next weekend. Don't forget about the post-game show. They'll break down the sweep victory for the Rainbow Warriors, remaining unblemished here in 2021. For Lisa Strand, I'm Kanoa Leahy. Until next time, everybody, aloha from Manoa.